Breaking news, a car goes up in flames right in front of Dale's Donuts as protests in Paramount get out of control and spill into Compton. And tensions escalate, officers in riot gear firing tear gas at protesters who are pushing back on immigration raids. Then people throwing stuff and banging on Border Patrol cars as they pass through crowds. Meanwhile, another crowd tries to block a U.S. Marshal Service bus. Federal law enforcement officers used tear gas and flashbangs to clear away the crowd. Tonight, U.S. Attorney Bill Saley says federal agents arrested over a dozen people who impeded agents. Let's get right to KCAL News reporter Zach Boetto live in Compton. Zach, what's happening? What are you seeing right now?
Hey, Gio, we're standing just off camera here. To our left, there are some masked people who have just bashed and tipped over this solar security camera station that was set up here at the Arco gas station across the street from where the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department deputies are stationed. Over here to the right, you can see those deputies. They have riot shields. They're standing strong at the intersection of Alondra and Atlantic. They're trying to hold there and make sure that the protesters don't go past that point. As you mentioned earlier, let's roll some video. There was a car that caught fire at the intersection here of Alondra and Atlantic, just right in the middle of the intersection where traffic was going back and forth and where authorities were trying to push protesters away from the action. We've seen fireworks. We've seen flags out here. People on dirt bikes. People on motorcycles. We've seen spin-outs, burnouts, donuts. Pretty much anything that you can think happens in a major protest. We're seeing right now here in Compton. We did speak with the Los Angeles County Sheriff as well as a protester about what's happening here in Los Angeles today. Here's what they had to say. Well, we'll get you that sound.
This is a United States of America. It's supposed to be for everybody. No one's better. No one's superior. We are the same. We bleed the same. We will die the same. We will all go under the earth the same.
All we're doing is trying to help our people from being separated from their families. That's all we're doing. That's all. Do you see anybody being violent right now, sir? No.
As the crowd has grown, it has become more violent. Individuals in the crowd that have been throwing objects at the federal agents, and we started to call in additional resources from around the county of Los Angeles.
Now, just within the last few minutes here, authorities have opened up traffic here at Alondra and Atlantic. So that's why you can see cars now going through the intersection where that charred car still sits. Also within the last few minutes, those protesters knocking over that security camera. It's now resting on the power line just here above our heads. So a lot of stuff still happening here, Gio, in Compton, and with the federal authorities deploying more backup. We are thinking that this is not the end of what's happening here in Compton this evening.
Zach, yeah, we're seeing the knocked over station there sitting on its side from KCAL. Before we let you go, I know earlier when we first broke in around 5 o'clock, you made a mention of how there's a large number of people there, obviously, a lot of them with their phones out and other forms of video trying to just watch what's going on. Do you still get the sense that that's really sort of the energy level of folks around there right now? Because we've described it throughout the afternoon that this is an ebbs and flows, and we seem to be on a bit of a downswing right now, but we know that that can change at any moment.
Yeah, Gio, I would say about 90% of the protesters that are here have their phones out and are observing what's happening. There's another 10%, and the sheriff said maybe 300 to 400 protesters here, so maybe about 30 to 40 people who are causing a lot of the damage, who are responsible for tossing over this security camera station, who are doing the burnouts, who are lighting cars on fire, lighting fireworks. but still a very active scene. And like you said, it ebbs and flows here. You know, we just saw, I would say, the deputies here, the number of Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies doubled within the last 15 minutes. So we're here. KCAL's on scene. We're watching. We're reporting. We're talking to protesters. We're talking to the sheriff. And as everything plays out here this evening, we'll be here to make sure our viewers know what's happening.
Absolutely. Zach Boetta, live in Compton. Zach, thank you. And breaking news, Governor Newsom says that President Trump is moving to deploy the California National Guard. The National Guard is controlled by the governor, but Governor Newsom says the federal government is moving to take over the California National Guard and deploy 2,000 soldiers. Newsom goes on to say that move is purposefully inflammatory and will only escalate tensions. And President Trump posting this on Truth Social, saying, quote, if Governor Gavin Newsom of California and Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles can't do their jobs, which everyone knows they can't, then the federal government will step in and solve the problem. Riots and looters the way it should be solved. Earlier, not far from the Compton scene in Paramount, protesters clashed with law enforcement, with protesters trying to block vehicles and throwing objects at cars. Officers using pepper spray and firing rubber bullets. Take a listen to this. And just before officers used tear gas and rubber bullets, protesters tried to block a U.S. Marshal bus from driving through the crowd. See the horn honking, the face-to-face between the bus and the protesters, not to mention the flashbangs going off in the background. And this is another moment captured on camera. Protesters going face-to-face with a law enforcement vehicle and throwing what looked to be milk and other objects at a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol vehicle. And over in Inglewood, citizen video shows someone being stuffed inside a Border Patrol car. A few people were outside of the car protesting law enforcement. It's unclear if this was part of a larger raid or who the person was being taken. We've reached out to federal officials but haven't heard back yet. Today's protests come after an hours-long demonstration in downtown LA yesterday. People crowded the federal building where detainees were taken following widespread immigration sweeps in LA. The protests got tense at times, with officers firing tear gas to clear the crowd. And that protest continued into the night, with crowds gathering in Chinatown, where federal agents appeared to be staging. Protesters confronted those agents as several flashbang grenades went off. Several of the armored vehicles were also vandalized with graffiti. And the leader of one of the nation's largest labor unions remains in federal custody. Service Workers Union President David Huerta is accused of interfering with the LA immigration raids. The U.S. attorney says Huerta was blocking an ICE detention van. The union says Huerta was injured during the arrest and had to be taken to the hospital. Huerta is expected in court on Monday. Today, California lawmakers say they are being denied entry into the downtown LA detention center where detained migrants are being held. Congressman Jimmy Gomez and other elected leaders say they should be allowed to visit any facility that's detaining migrants, but we're told they weren't allowed in because of safety issues.
I've been to the Middle East, I've been to war zones, so I know what it's like to actually be in a situation that's a lot more dangerous than inside this building.
How many people are there? It is our job as members of Congress to have oversight.
We reached out to Border Patrol for more information about the facility, but have not heard back. In a warning from the FBI, the agency says protesters could be prosecuted for attacking officers or impeding on immigration operations. Let's take you back out live here from KCAL in Compton. You see sheriff's deputies on the move, a couple with those non-lethals up, getting ready. Who's to say what they're about to do, but this is sort of the tense situation that we're continuing to monitor. In Compton right now, a line of sheriff's deputies and multiple vehicles just behind them at the intersection there of Alondra and Atlantic. We'll keep an eye on that as the evening progresses. Of course, stay with KCAL News for developments on these protests and immigration raids across Southern California. We'll have a live update for you in just about 20 minutes at 6:30. A different type of weekend getaway in Ladera Heights. The person inside this Camry wanted for reckless driving. At one point, it tried squeezing through traffic here, but appeared to be blocked in. And just when officers got out of their vehicle, take a look at this, the driver ends up ramming through, hitting two cars and taking off. They continue to speed through streets, going the wrong way at certain points, cutting off drivers before getting away. A weekend warm-up in your next weather forecast. Let's get to meteorologist Olga Espina tracking 90s for some areas later next week. Olga?
Yes, we are warming things up. Still, that June gloom is with us for the early part of the day, but some of those inland spots, yes, warming up into the 90s. So we're looking at some pretty good temperatures, warmer tomorrow than what we felt today. There's a look at our satellite radar. So things cleared up pretty nicely compared to what we were seeing earlier in the day, and we are feeling upper 80s at the 6 o'clock hour in Lancaster into Palmdale. So it's been a warm day for our deserts. Upper 60s in downtown Los Angeles, still low 80s for Woodland Hills. So places like the valleys into the Inland Empire saw some warm temperatures today. We're looking at low 70s from Irvine into Laguna Hills. And for the Inland Empire, it is still hot this evening with 80s from Fontana into San Bernardino, Redlands, and Hemet. We'll talk about that warming trend coming up in just a few minutes.
Olga, thank you. A live look now at our Big Bear Eagle cam. Jackie and Shadow are officially empty nesters. Their second eaglet, Gizmo, has taken flight. This is the moment Gizmo decided to go for it. She took a brave jump and didn't quite stick the landing. But once in the air, she gracefully recovered and then glided to a nearby tree. She stayed there for more than an hour to reorient and figure out what's next. And here's a look at Sunny, who took flight on Monday. It wasn't clear where Sunny went, but she did return at some point and has been heard in the area. Experts say by fall, they'll both be ready to head out on their own. Still ahead for you, Fair Plan Insurance lawsuit. Why one man recovering from the Eaton fire is suing the state's last resort insurance program. Plus, recall alert, the California egg distributor at the center of a salmonella outbreak. And we continue following our breaking news, immigration raid protests spilling into Compton. along the road in that intersection on Alondra and Atlantic. We'll continue to keep an eye on this throughout the evening for you. In the meantime, a man whose home was damaged in the Eaton fire is suing the California Fair Plan, claiming it's underpaying his fire claim and says he can't afford to make his home livable. On your side's Christine Lazar shares his story.
How did this backyard used to feel?
Home.
This is what Luis Cesare's backyard in Altadena used to look like. It was home to countless family parties over the 18 years the landscaper lived there. But after the Eaton fire destroyed every home that surrounded his property.
And take a look. That's where I park my cars, my tools, all gone, all the way around the house.
The fire ripped through the backyard.
Did it burn your roof too?
A little bit.
And even burned the corner of Cesare's house. But that isn't the worst of the damage. A huge portion of his roof collapsed in this covered patio.
So the ceiling just collapsed?
Right. Every so often I come over and there's another chunk on the floor.
Also in one of the bedrooms and in the dining room, which used to look like this. Cesare's is insured by the California Fair Plan, our state's insurance of last resort. And when he filed a claim, he was told he would only receive $6,995. All this damage done to his house.
When I hear the insurance give me that money, that's another catastrophe.
The Fair Plan quote lists another $64,000 for the loss of backyard structures, including sheds and a pool house.
Is that enough to
Of course not.
fix all of this?
No, not even a scratch.
What are you hearing from contractors that you've had out?
One that I called out and came out gave me an estimate of $250,000 for the repairs that the adjusters said that they were going to be doing.
Cesare's also has smoke and ash throughout the home.
I asked the desk adjuster if they were going to be paying for my beds or my sofas inside, and he asked me, are they burned? I said, no, so we're not paying for them. And I said, what about the walls, the cleaning inside the house? That you can do yourself.
I mean, you can't be acting in good faith here and not pay this man his full policy.
Kylie Grombacher is Cesare's attorney. She's filed a lawsuit on his behalf, accusing the Fair Plan of acting in bad faith and for breach of contract by failing to pay all benefits due for covered claims in violation of California law.
We think his whole policy should be paid.
And that's how much?
It's $500,000. His policy isn't even that much. Just that will, give him a chance to rebuild. It's not going to be enough, probably, but at least he has a fighting chance.
Until then, Cesare's is staying with relatives and dreaming of the day he can return to the place he once considered his sanctuary.
We reached out to the California Fair Plan for comment, and a spokesperson told us they cannot comment on ongoing litigation. But they said that the Fair Plan pays all covered claims consistent with California law. Christine Lazar, KCAL News.
And make sure to watch KCAL News' special home insurance crisis tonight at 8 p.m. right here on CBS Channel 2. That's followed by our 1 hour special Home Insurance We've Got You Covered, hosted by Christine Lazar and Julie Watts. That's tonight at 9 p.m. on Channel 2. And all of this insurance information is available on KCALnews.com/InsuranceHQ. Now to a live look at the Friends of Big Bear Valley's Eagle Cam. Sunny and calm in Big Bear this evening, where just hours ago Gizmo took her first flight. And there's a video from earlier. With that, let's get to meteorologist Olga Spina tracking the weekend warm-up in your next forecast. Olga?
Yeah, and already tomorrow we're going to be feeling those warmer temperatures. Low clouds and fog, that is still going to continue to be the big part of our weather story, especially as we head into the next day or two. But then that warming trend, again, that's already kicking in tomorrow, and we're going to be talking 80s and 90s for inland spots. That warming trend continues through the middle of the week, and then as we head towards the end of the week, we start to cool down a bit. Temperatures get back to average heading into the weekend. So here's a look at our satellite radar. Conditions have improved greatly from what we were seeing this morning, and conditions really very different depending on where you are. Santa Monica checking in at 64 degrees. You are seeing some sunshine right now too. And then as we head into the deserts, Lancaster still at nearly 90 degrees at 6 o'clock this evening. You're also seeing not just the hot temperatures, but some some windy conditions. We have gusts in the 30s right now, winds from the southwest. So that's really the breeziest area at the moment. Out through the Santa Clarita Valley, seeing double-digit wind speeds, and through the low desert too. Claremont also at 17 miles per hour. Let's take a look at Futurecast, because this is going to be a big part of our weather story heading into tomorrow. Low clouds and fog start to move in late tonight into early tomorrow morning, and you'll notice those clouds retreat. By the afternoon, some areas, parts of Orange County, some of the Orange County coastline, still seeing some cloud cover. And for some of you, though, you will see better sunshine tomorrow than what we saw today. Heading into late Sunday and early Monday, we are doing that pattern all over again. Here's a look at the next 7 days for the LAOC metro area. Tomorrow afternoon, we're looking at numbers climbing into the low 80s, and we stay that way through Wednesday, upper 70s by Thursday. There's that cool down, and mid 70s right around average by Friday. As we head into our valleys, we're looking at upper 80s over the next 4 days, and then mid 80s by Thursday, upper 70s as we head into Friday. For the Inland Empire, you're going to be in the 90s all the way through Wednesday, and there's that bit of a cool down, gradual cooling Thursday into Friday, back into the mid 80s heading into the weekend. For the desert, upper 90s turning into low 90s by Thursday and upper 80s on Friday. And for the mountains, we're looking at in a couple of days, still in the upper 70s, and then those 80s start to kick in, low 70s by Friday. As we head into the beaches, mostly in the 70s and upper 60s heading into the extended period. So just keep in mind the low clouds and fog, that's going to be the start to our day for most of us, and then some clearing by the afternoon. Back to you.
Olga, thank you so much. Still ahead, a recall that could impact your breakfast. Then Governor Newsom's funding threat to President Trump. And we continue following our breaking news. Immigration raid protests spilling into Compton. Traffic flowing at the intersection here after that burned out car in the middle was put out. We'll keep an eye on this and give you the latest in just about 8 minutes.
There's a power within each of us. When awakened,
An egg recall after a salmonella outbreak tied to California sickens dozens of people across 7 states. August Egg Company, based out of Merced County in Central California, has recalled nearly 2 million dozen brown cage-free and brown certified organic eggs. They were sold under multiple brand names across 9 states. Some of the stores they were sold at include Walmart and Ralph's. The CDC says at least 79 people across 7 states have fallen ill, including 21 who had to be hospitalized. An update tonight to the confirmed measles case in LA County that may have exposed others. We told you the infected person visited at least 3 stores in the Santa Clarita Valley last Wednesday. However, the health department sent a correction saying the person actually visited the stores last Thursday. Those stores are Costco on Via Princesa, Trader Joe's on Golden Valley Road, and Walmart on the Old Road in Stevenson Ranch. Measles is extremely contagious. If you think you may have been exposed, contact your doctor. Our breaking news coverage continues. Immigration protests in Compton and downtown LA. We have a live update just minutes away. Then they helped haul away fire debris, but one group of truck drivers say it's been months and they still haven't been paid for their work.